Hello and top of the morning to you all out there. It's a beautiful week, and we want to believe that you had a very beautiful weekend too. For some, it was eventful, and for so many others, maybe restful. But notwithstanding, this week promised to bring a lot of good luck to so many people who are positioned to enjoy the benefit of working hard and working tirelessly just to achieve your purpose. This is CROSSFIRE. Welcome, and my name is Dapo Banjo. I'm not alone in the studio. I have Barrister Ishoma Gaine with me, and we'll be running the show together as we look at trending stories that are just making headlines, and we'll be throwing a lot of analysis on that, and we will be doing justice to as many controversial and debatable issues that probably could emanate from our discussion. Ishoma, good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm very fine, thank you. Good morning, and welcome to the show.
Great. All right. We have a couple of stories that we will be bringing your way, and we will try as much as possible to be analytical enough for you to understand exactly the point that we're trying to make out of this. Last weekend, just last weekend on Saturday, we had about, we had elections in 3 different states of the Federation, and that ranged from the governorship position and then some state out of assembly. And the elections did not eventually go without leaving some form of information for us to really talk about. In Imo State, there were elections, and in Abia State and Taraba State, there were elections. Imo State Governor and candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Chief Rochas Okorocha, was early on Sunday morning declared winner of the governorship elections in the state by the Independent National Electoral Commission. In other 2 states where supplementary governorship election also held on Saturday, the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Abia and Taraba State, Dr. Okezie Victor Ikpezu and Mr. Darius Ishaku, respectively, also won, going by result collated and declared by INEC at the time of going to the press. Some other additional scores were actually came by, and then they were added up to the initial collation that INEC did on the 28th of March,
Sure.
Elections and the April 11th elections and all of that. So basically, we had a couple of things playing out both in Imo, across all the 3 states where elections, and there have been a lot of, misfeelings. Misfeelings, especially in Taraba State, where a lot of people believe that the first female governor in Nigeria would have emerged, but we had a twist.
But the truth still remains. Definitely, there will be a lot of ill feelings, but that's why we have tribunals right now. So it's also good if they can also, within the ambit of time, as provided by the law, if they can also file their petition and then go battle it in court legally, without having to resort to violence and any form of public disorder. So, well, the courts are open. They can proceed.
I think some of these states probably may be won back, by the opposition party.
It all depends on the strength of their evidence. That's
anyway, that's true.
It's not about the opposition.
And then the twist in Imo, maybe not a twist, maybe a twist.
No,
but
this was a long time coming. Even before the Saturday run of elections, we knew, because based on the results that were gathered, from the previous election, we saw that that the person of Rochas Okorocha was leading with probably like a landslide margin. So it was obvious that he was going to emerge winner. But where a lot of controversies and issues are springing forth is particularly that of Taraba State, because a lot of individuals already pinpointed that she was gaining a lot of ground. She was leading. And then all of a sudden,
the rerun was just supposed to be like an addition to whatever she scored earlier on, and then it's a big twist.
But there are lots of
undertones. A victory for the woman. Maybe I'm not particular about the party, but I wanted I wanted history to be written. I wanted the first female governor in Nigeria to be elected, duly elected, exactly, and all of that. And then when we consider what happened, nobody particularly was thinking there was any opportunity for Dr. Okezie Ikwezu in Abia State. A lot of people were thinking, okay, he could either go maybe the APC way or he goes the HAPGA way.
Yeah,
but
well,
I mean, the
I was
result
looking
we
at
have...
it more based on the results that we had even before the results were declared inconclusive. I was looking at the battle. The battle was tilting more to that of APGA and the PDP, leaving the APC candidate out of it. But then, well, based on the reports we've had even from our viewers who have been calling into the show, and a lot of Abians who have been speaking out, I thought that APGA was going to win it.
I mean,
because a lot of persons were saying
APGA already made statement. I think they'll be going to court to seek redress, as to whatever has taken place in Abia State. Talk about politics in Nigeria. It's just something that I'm not sure in very short time from now we will stop talking about the 2015 elections, considering a lot of things that characterize them. Because even in Taraba State on Saturday,
I don't think we'll stop talking about it easily. I don't think we'll stop talking about it easily because 2015 election has proved to be one of the best in Nigeria's history. So the 2015 elections will always be
it's becoming like a reference point.
For now, it will always be a reference point until we have something better. But even if we have something better, it will still be a reference point in the sense that it was a stepping stone.
Exactly, to where free, fair, transparent, credible elections took place in Nigeria.
And that's the reason why, despite the shortfalls of INEC, I still give it to the person of Professor Tahiru Jega.
As a matter of fact, I mean, INEC still didn't go without leaving some traces of inconsistency and some,
definitely, but it's all up to whoever it is that gets the baton to improve. And do not wait. It's also up to them for them to put aside the whole Nigerian mentality thing of keeping all the work done to the late hour. If they can learn, whoever it is that, that the baton falls, or if they can learn to begin to do things on time, keep to time, and make sure everybody would get their PVCs early. In fact, while you're doing your accreditation process, you're moving to the next queue, and then you're voting immediately. Issues like that, there are a whole lot of issues which we definitely
All right. Anyway, that notwithstanding, we want to say a very big congratulations to Chief Rochas Okorocha for becoming the next governor of Abia State. And then of Imo State. And we just wish that, the joy of the Imo people concerning their governor is the same thing, that will be experienced by Dr. Okezie Victor Ikwezu who has won on the platform of the PDP in Abia State, and then Mr. Darius Ishaku, who won in Taraba State. So we want to wish all of them, a good tenure in office, and we hope that everything goes just as it is planned. Now, let's quickly jump to our next story because of time. We're anticipating this morning that a lot of people will be calling into the show to be part of our discussion today. Let's quickly look at the statement that the newly elected, the president-elect made over the weekend about the missing $20 billion, that is said. And the president-elect said something. He said, retired General Muhammadu Buhari says investigation into the missing $20 billion allegedly, been mismanaged or kept or misappropriated by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation will be a priority for the incoming administration. Receiving a delegation of political stakeholders from Adamawa State yesterday, Mr. Buhari also expressed shock at the treatment of the military, and that's a story on its own. I will be coming to it in a short while. But basically, I thought the government actually said there's no missing fund.
That's why we should all wait for the probe.
I thought they said there's no missing
that's
fund.
one of the things the whole probe exercise will unveil to Nigerians, because a lot of Nigerians still strongly believe. But first of all, there are so many stories as regards this missing funds. First of all, we were told there was no missing funds, and then the next thing we see or we hear that the funds are resurfacing
resurfaced
within a particular bank.
So
these are a lot of issues which I strongly agree, and I think the incoming administration should focus on, because when you allow a misnomer go, that means you also
uninvestigated,
unlivestigated. It
unresolved.
sends a lot of signals to even individuals who will also work with you in your next administration. It simply means you can come, you can lose, or you can misbehave, and I won't probe it. Nobody will probe it, and you get away with it. You can't eat your cake and have it. And when we talk about instilling discipline,
Maybe if you buy two and you eat one and you keep
get
the
one
other.
free. No, but this is public service. The call for public service is a call to serve, and you have to marry it together. You have to put them together with transparency. This is an act of transparency, which I believe lots of Nigerians are waiting to see how this will play out.
Now, I said this sometime last week, Ishoma, on the show, on Crossfire. And I said, don't you think that the newly elected, party, the president coming in, come May the 29th, when he will be fully sworn in and he will be taking over the affairs of the country, don't you think is actually inheriting a lot of issues? Let me say, Boko Haram is still there, unresolved.
Security
The
issues.
missing Chibok girls have not been found. Security issues across, nationwide has not been resolved. Health issues, the state of our hospitals,
even our
everywhere,
economy also,
has not been resolved. The oil has ceased to be the mainstay of Nigeria's economy, and we have not found another substitution for it. That's another one. The president-elect was saying over the weekend, he was talking about, he said, I express shock at the treatment of the military by the outgoing People's Democratic Party, government describing as among the worst atrocities of the party to the nation. That means, the retired general has probably gotten feeders, information pointing to the fact that the Nigerian military has been completely messed up and mesmerized over the years, because maybe that's why they've not even been able to step up to their game, to fighting the insurgency as at when due, and we allow it to actually stay this long. And he also said another thing. He also reaffirms in his campaign promise to make the economy, security, corruption, and corruption is another very, humongous. It has become really very humongous.
That's basically the killer of the Nigerian economy.
Don't you think that the president-elect is inheriting a lot,
Definitely.
and that could pose a lot of distraction to his government, to his administration?
No, not 100%, because first of all, he knew when the day he decided to run for presidency, he knew what he was going into. But also understand that the president of a country, he's not the only one who is going to carry on his shoulders the generality of the problems. Fixing the problems. That's why he's going to have his team of ministers. At this point,
I see him wanting to be on top of every issue.
Definitely.
As they are being.
Come on. Now, remember when we talked about this, I think last week thereabouts, the president, even though he has a team of technocrats, of individuals who have been charged with certain responsibilities, he is supposed to be on top of his game to make sure he monitors their activities. So I feel when we talk about agriculture, we talk about security, we talk about health, he's definitely going to put in people, capable hands, who will handle those areas. But he would definitely be on top to make sure that they're also doing a thorough job as it should be done and as when done. So I see nothing wrong in him going after the 20 billion. After all, this amount of money is many nations do not even spend half of this for the national budget in a year.
Because
and this is what we're throwing away.
In my view, really and truly, Ishoma, in my view, I'm beginning to feel that if care is not taken, it's just like you coming into a new office and you're sitting on a particular table, maybe as the secretary of an organization. You definitely want to know the antecedents of who left the table or who the last secretary was, all the pending issues. If there is a proper handing over, it is expected that the handing over period will be such a very robust one that will give an insight into what is particularly happening across all the ministries and the strata of government strata. And it is expected also that the information that will be provided will be such that it will guide you know, the new coming
But
government
in a
into
situation,
every situation.
yeah, but in a situation where Nigeria is faced with right now, especially on issues regarding financial misappropriation, you do not expect that the outgoing government will tell you the detailed truth about what was on ground.
Anyway, detailed truth, we'll take that as our next, you know, bullet for the next story that will be taken. But we'll be going on a short break now. When we come back, we'll be taking on that story. We'll be right back.